Hello and welcome to One Life Left live at Nordic Game 2013. I'm Steve Curran.
I'm Simon Byron.
And I'm Anne Scantlebury.
And you are in a slaughterhouse.
Welcome.
Welcome. That's what's going on. We are in the corner of a slaughterhouse right now, which is where Nordic Game is held. And we are so excited to be back.
Can you pronounce it in Swedish?
Slaughterhouse?
Slaughterhouse.
That's not
Sure.
right.
Isn't it?
No, that was just you putting on a silly voice.
Isn't that what they do?
And to everyone here, you're the one with the silly voice. We're the ones with silly voices. We are One Life Left. We're a video game radio show. This is Resonance 104.4 FM. And we are lucky once again to be doing an outside broadcast at one of the world's most brilliant video game festivals.
It's definitely the most Nordic.
This is the 10th Nordic Games Conference. And we've done 4 or 5, have we?
Something like that.
Okay, it's almost fair to say it literally wouldn't be Nordic Games without One Life Left. Is that right?
Let's say that's right.
Okay. And
last year we broadcast from a balcony where the Angry Birds team threw Angry Birds at us.
And we bought some more things back this time. We bought some bad piggies.
Right now we are on the floor. I mean, not literally. We're not lying on the floor, but we are
That
sat.
comes later.
So this is the opening night of Nordic Games. It's the indie night, the indie showcase.
That's right.
There's 8 games being shown tonight. The room that we're in, there are 5 being shown at the minute. People are around plinths with games on them. They all look very excited to be playing these games.
So there are some of the up-and-coming members of the Nordic indie scene showing off their wares.
And we're hoping to get some of them on in the next hour or so.
We'll be doing it in another part of the venue. There are talks going to be given, and we're going to be grabbing some of those speakers.
Interrupt those.
Probably not interrupt them.
Politely. But first of all, who have we been joined by? Who's the first face we've seen?
I don't recognise
Oh,
him.
look, it's Simon Parko.
Simon Parkin, welcome.
That guy.
Hello, team.
How's it going?
Yeah, pretty good.
Good.
Not too bad.
It's unusual for us both to be doing the show, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes.
I know, what
this breaks
happens?
the one-sided
doesn't
rule.
it? How's it going? Welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You've only just got here.
Yeah, brought the weather with me.
Thank
and all
you.
That, so, yeah. Yes, it's. This is my first Nordic game.
Is it?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Why are you here?
I'm here to introduce Tim Schafer for the keynote.
Are you?
So-
You've been flown out for that? Are we busy when this is happening, or something?
ridiculous.
I guess so. We were busy. Too busy to be invited by Microsoft to the Xbox One launch. We were too busy watching it, weren't we? Sorry, we were going to be watching
Sorry,
it.
Microsoft.
Yeah.
Got other plans.
How did that come about? Are you friends with Tim Schafer?
No.
But after this show, will you?
Well, I hope so.
We should explain who Tim
Schafer.
Schafer is, actually, first of all.
Tim Schafer is a video game developer who made games such as The Secret of Monkey Island, Day of the Tentacle, and more recently, The Cove. Any other games?
The Cove.
Is that right? Not The Cove.
You're
The
thinking
Cave.
about Tim Schoffer.
You've really done your research.
Exactly. You can't read your own handwriting, can you?
I'm very jet lagged.
Right, so how did this come about then?
Well, I just emailed really the organisers.
I know all about him.
my
He's written The Cove, Secret of Monkey Island.
I'd be perfect.
Right, and they said yes. Have they met you before?
Yeah, no, it turns out it's really easy.
Right.
Wow, your dreams can come true just if you send an email.
Yeah, so when's he talking?
Tomorrow morning at 10 a.m.
Excellent. So we should, well, if it's your first time, you should stick with us. We'll show you the ropes.
That's a terrible idea.
Yeah, exactly. And we look forward to wheeling you in at 10 a.m. this tomorrow morning, having had no sleep, to interview Tom Schiffer.
Tom Schiffer, presented by Seaman Porkin.
Great. So, and that's all you're doing over here, is it?
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably be interviewing a few people and stuff like that, just for articles and stuff. But yeah, that's the only thing I'm
we're
contributing
free.
to.
Yeah, we are.
Really?
We could do this now if you want.
Ask us anything.
Do you know my mind's drawing a blank on?
Great. Well, thank you for being our first guest on the show, Simon.
No worries.
You are going to hang around with us, aren't you?
Yeah, I'll hang around. Yeah,
Great.
for sure.
Okay. We'll be chatting about our adventures with Simon Parkin tomorrow's show.
Oh, jeez.
Welcome back to Nordic Game 2013. You're listening to Resonance 104.4 FM. We are One Life Left, and we are delighted to be joined by our first actual guest, our first guest from the show floor.
Simon Parkin was just a practice.
He just rolled up, and we felt, well, I mean, like, we felt obligated to speak to him. It probably won't be broadcast, will it? I wouldn't have thought. But welcome, Joachim. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, it is. Joachim.
Okay, hello.
We're going to have to get used to these kinds of names.
Okay, apologies if I got it wrong. Hello, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Well, good, thank you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So can you explain what brings you to Nordic Game 2013?
I came here with the game Flowstorm. So I'm here, showing the game to people and basically telling people what the game's all about.
There's quite a crowd round there, I can see. How's it going so far?
So far it's been going well. Generally people seem to find the game super difficult,
Right.
but people today have been really good at it, so it's really fun to see.
So could you explain a bit about the game then?
The game is basically a 2.5D racing game where you can also shoot people and you shoot other rockets. So you fly around with your two rockets fighting each other in arenas. So it's basically like the old cave flyer.
Right.
Basically, the game's like Gravity Force if
Yep.
you play that.
Finished it.
Huh?
I finished it.
Oh, okay.
What does 2.5D mean?
2.5D is basically 2D gameplay with 3D graphics.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And did you set out to make it difficult?
It was supposed to be super difficult because there are so many games today where you don't learn to play. There are so many elements in the game that make your character progress, but you don't progress as a player. You don't develop your own skills. So I really wanted to make a game where people can actually learn how to play. So if you had one skilled player and one new player, and you set them and you gave them the same set of tools, you'd instantly be able to notice who's the experienced one and who's not.
So it's a game that you made just yourself, or is there a team of you?
We're a team.
Okay.
We're two people right now. So it's me and Jenny Nordenborg.
And so, how did it come to be featured here? What sort of stuff do you have to do?
We basically went out on as many websites as possible and tried to publish it on as many pages as possible to get a community following. And then to get it here, we applied to the Nordic Game Indie Game Night, basically.
And it was
they judged it was apparently good enough to be here.
selected as one of the 8 best games.
Yeah, apparently so.
Okay, so what do you think your chances are this evening?
I have no idea, actually.
Have you seen much of the competition?
Yeah, I have, and it's a really cool games. So, and I think that the other games are probably more known than Flowstorm, but we'll see.
Okay.
Would you like us to try and influence the vote?
Yes, please.
How do you think we can do that? Because we don't know.
When it looks empty, you could go over there and try to look like
Okay.
you're having
Actually,
super
no.
fun.
What we'll do periodically is we'll walk over and just start whooping and
Hollering.
Yeah, give them
like
a
at
massive
the
round of
Xbox
applause.
One press
Exactly.
conference.
Yeah, because we've been flown over
Go,
from that.
yeah.
Yeah, we will definitely do that for you. And what can you win?
In fact, maybe you should just try listing some of the features of the game right now.
Okay, some of the features. Primarily, it's a racing game.
Yes.
The best racing game ever.
Yes. That's good.
Amazing level editor.
What a level editor.
Any exclusives?
I don't know. Exclusives like what?
Who needs them?
Yeah.
Don't be that exclusive.
And what can you win?
By playing Flowstorm or by winning this competition?
You're up against 7 other games.
Yeah.
People are milling around, voting from them this evening. It gets unveiled tomorrow night, I understand. Is that right? So what could you win?
Well, there's the award tomorrow, and there's a Unity license, basically.
Great.
Yeah.
Is there any cash involved?
I don't know, actually.
If there is,
I don't
is it
think
divisible
there is.
by 5?
Because we are going to cheer really loudly for you today, so just
right.
saying.
Cool. So how can we follow your progress on the internet? Where can we find out some more about the game?
Flowstormgame.com.
Great. Well, best of luck. We will genuinely whoop and cheer for you later on, and we'll hopefully see you tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Welcome back to Nordic Games 2013. It's the opening indie night of the show.
It's bustling, isn't it?
It is bustling.
Bustling.
Which I'm surprised about given the cost of lager, as I've just discovered.
Oh,
Just 2 beers and 3 lemonades, £23. How do these people live out here?
And this is meant to be the
Indies.
cheaper part.
Indies, exactly. Yeah. So that's the last round of drinks I'm buying you guys.
I remember when me and you went drinking in Oslo.
Yeah, I remember that. And it was about midnight, and I opened up my wallet to check to see whether I had enough money, and £150 in it, and I wasn't sure that would see me through the night. It was like £6 for not a pint of beer, wasn't it?
It was more than that. It was about a tenner or something. Anyway,
And that's why we've not gone back, Oslo.
you're listening to One Life Left, broadcasting live from the Scandinavian region.
And we're delighted to be joined by industry legend Oscar Clark. Hello, Oscar.
That's a bit strong, but I'll industry.
It's broadly speaking true,
loudmouth.
though.
I think
No, well,
yeah.
you know, I'm fairly certain you have encouraged me to spend money before.
Many
I'm
times.
reasonably certain Steve will have been influenced by some of the work that you did previously.
Yeah.
Steve, you were on the 3 network, weren't you, Steve? I think you and
I currently am on the 3
Yeah.
network.
Oscar used to run the games division, or you launched the games, is that
so
right?
I joined 3 in 2001, and we basically made what turned out to be probably the most successful, well, definitely the most successful in the UK. By 2005, we did 68% of the UK downloads and plays. We did 45% of the revenue, and we only had 5% of the audience.
Right,
We
and
were
that was
making
people like Steve and I.
Yeah.
we were known as then as whales, weren't we? That's what we were. They were the
That's
first
what-
examples of whales.
That's what we call you now.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's funny how much we learn from doing that kind of stuff. I mean, we did things like I launched out the service originally with rent. You rented a game for 50p for 3 days.
Right.
It was an utter disaster.
Right.
But I mean, the weird thing is that you couldn't get enough content because nobody wanted to do the sort of hard work to make money work in games at that time. But the weird thing was, we worked out a few years later, the guys who did bother, who also then sold the game, so you had both a rent and a buy, were making 3 times as much as the guys who were basically just selling the game blank. So anyone who takes a bit of time to think about how to make a game better, how to make a game more fun, but also how to make money out of it, can actually do much better.
And you were way ahead of the curve, weren't you? Because it's all popular now to do smartphone games, all that sort of stuff. And
yeah, it's kind of interesting because a lot of people talking about, in some ways I feel a bit to blame in some ways as well, because I was also the git that took 60% revenue share, and I was terribly good at commercial stuff for 3, but not for necessarily for myself, which is not a good thing. But we're in this wonderful age at the moment where we can actually start looking at doing new things, doing things which can make games better because they're freemium. And I'm a huge fan of way Real Racing has turned around the way that you play that game, for example.
That took a lot of stick from the hardcore, didn't it, initially? But it's never bothered me, and I've not spent any money on it.
No, but I don't know about you, but I always have to have a really good racing game on whatever device I've got, but I don't tend to play it very much.
Right, yeah. So it's actually perfect playing it in 20-minute chunks. It really is. Don't tell EA this.
No, this is the thing. Because it's free to play, they have to keep getting me back into the game. I find myself playing it way more than I've ever played a racing game.
And have you spent any money on it?
Yeah, about 20 quid.
Okay. The thing that's got me at the moment is a game called Perfect Kick.
So
it's penalty. You're alternately a goalie and a penalty ticket.
Yes.
It's real time.
Yeah.
And you're playing for coins. You put 5 coins in, and you play. The winner takes 9, so they take a cut of 1 coin.
Yeah, very clever.
Now I spent £4 on it so far.
But have you seen Score or Fluid Football?
Yeah.
I mean, Score is just a master. I mean, Charlie's a great guy, but he's managed to get a really great audience just by repeating historic goals.
Yeah.
And the finesse he's got into that. I mean, it's not the game I would have ever made, but it's just beautifully, enjoyable. It's definitely worth checking out.
Right.
And, lots of games like that are out there.
So, what brings you to Nordic Games?
So I have the wonderful role of being an evangelist. My job at the moment is to go and talk about game design and talk about monetization. And I work for a company called Amplifier, and we do gameplay recording, also some video ads. Probably the most interesting one was sitting in the Rovio presentation yesterday, where they were talking about Bad Piggies. And obviously, that was today, wasn't it? They were talking. I'm drinking too much beer already. I forget which day it is.
Don't do that. It's cost you a fortune.
I know. See, that's the joy of expenses.
Yes.
Anyway, the point was that at the end of that, they show off a whole bunch of videos. And if you've ever seen Bad Piggies, obviously the joy of Bad Piggies is that I'm making these really stupid, weird contraptions, and I can put any combination of things together and launch them off. And people are doing these, like, they're creating robots. They're creating jet planes with firing missiles just by putting components in. They're creating these rockets which have these escape capsules that come out of them just from putting the components together. But the joy of that game is that you only work out how brilliant it is when you can see the video of what other people are doing. Right. And then you start exploring.
Yeah.
And so the video recording they use is every place. So that's what we do.
Okay. So that's not happening on all mobile games, is it?
No, there's about 64 at the moment, but we only launched just before Christmas.
I didn't know about this.
Yes, it's a fast running. So I'll give you an example. Secret Exit, the guys who did Zenbound and things like that, they had a fantastic game called Stair Dismount. I don't know if you've ever heard that. It launched about 2009, so it's quite an old game.
It's the pushing people down the stairs game, right?
And what's not to love about pushing? The best thing is you can put your friend's face from Facebook on it. So I can push my friend down the stairs.
I understand that's a good game for people who are too cowardly to actually push people over.
Oscar, I don't want to stop you, but I'm going to stop you because you're going to come on the show when we're back in London, aren't you?
I'd love to.
You can be a full-blown guest, and we'll have an hour of you.
I'd talk for more than an hour, and you'll have to edit me down, I'm sure.
Nice one. Well, enjoy the rest of your show. Thanks for coming on.
That's been great.
Yeah,
Thanks, guys.
Take it easy.
Thanks a lot.
You're listening to One Life Left, broadcasting live from Nordic Game. We're having a lovely time.
We are having a lovely time, aren't we? How are you doing, Anne?
Having a really, really nice time. The room has got a little bit quieter recently, but that's because there are some talks going on in the other room. We anticipate when the talks are over, more people will be out here playing games and having a lovely time.
Thanks for the noise forecast.
You're welcome. People may have noticed a little dip through the recording.
Did you notice that when we were chatting to Oscar, there was a man shouted and then everybody stopped talking? So
Brilliant.
Earlier in the show, if you wondered what happened to the atmosphere behind us, it wasn't us that killed it.
Everyone just standing and looking at us. What's going on?
But also, people from the Nordic region are very respectful of people who want their attention.
Apart from us, when we're talking to a games evangelist. So we carried on. Talking of talking to people, we've been joined by someone else, Chris James. Hello, Chris.
Hi, how's it going?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing quite well.
Quite well. How could you be doing better?
Well, I've got a full beer, so that's not too bad
Do
right
you?
now. Yes.
How much did that cost you?
Cherish that.
Very much.
Where
No
are you-
one's taking my beer.
Yeah. So, where are you from?
I'm from Thunder Bay, Ontario. It's in Canada.
Excellent. Yep, I'm big fan of Canada. I recently married a Canadian girl.
Love your guys'
wow.
work. Well done.
Congratulations.
Thanks very much. So what brings you over here?
Well, I'm currently in Denmark. I'm a lead level designer at IO Interactive on the next big project. But basically, I just heard about the indie games scene and what was going on here in Malmo, so I just came over with a couple of other folks, checking it out. So far, everything's really interesting. Lots of cool people. It's amazing to see, like, you know, you're kind of in this bubble for a long time making games, and then you kind of come out to a scene like this and you see everybody who's not in your office who's still very passionate about the industry. And it's just really rewarding to see that the industry is still thriving with, like, especially a lot of young talent. It's really cool.
Did you start off as an indie, or how was your route into the industry?
I started off as an artist at a startup company in Vancouver, but basically I went directly into design, starting with a game that was being published by Sega at the time called Full Auto, and I basically have been doing level design for the past, like, 9-10 years. So.
Right. And so do you think that there are things that people like you at places like IO could learn from the indies?
I mean, absolutely. I think we can always learn from each other. I mean, that's the great thing about games, is that it's always evolving. Technologies are always getting better. Cloud technologies, I think, has just exploded what we can do with games. And, you know, when you look at big development teams, it takes a long time for them to move because it's a lot of people, and you need to make sure that when you're going to invest your money and you're going to invest your resources, you're going to do it right. Whereas an indie can just go, well, there's like 2 or 3 of us, we're going to do whatever the hell we want, and just go and try a couple of things out, low risk. So it's a different kind of, like, scenario where they're going and trying all these little things where when a big studio decides to put all their money in one place, it's all in and it's big. So, you know, when they do that, it's a really great high production value product coming out. But, you know, we can look at indies and see, okay, this is where the space that they've looked at, this is how we're interpreting that works for us. And then indies can see, like, okay, these are the tricks of the trade that they're doing to make really high product or high quality product production value with their products, and we can learn from that. And so I think there's a really interesting exchange that can happen, especially when you get a lot of veterans from the big AAA industry going to become independent developers. Because if you get a whole bunch of students right out of school, yeah, they're going to be able to make something, but there's a lot of lessons learned by being a vet in the industry that you'll be able to just bring in automatically, and it'll be like a really fun experience out of the box, first or second try. So I think there's a lot we can learn from each other these days, absolutely.
How long have you lived in Copenhagen for?
Since October. So I'm, like, completely new to Europe.
Okay, so how was the culture shock?
Not much, being a Canadian.
Really? Really? I mean, there's not that much difference
Well,
between...
beer is expensive in Ontario, isn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, you need to... in Ontario, you actually have to go to a specific place to get
government
beer.
shop.
Yeah, you know, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's horrible.
And you can't drink outside,
Nope.
but you can drink outside over here.
Yeah.
But you just can't afford to.
Yeah. That's basically it. I think, actually, it's cheaper in Denmark than it is in Sweden.
What's the best thing about Denmark?
Honestly, I think it's being a foreigner in Denmark, because I'll go to the bar with a whole bunch of people and I'll start talking randomly to random people, because that's why I'm here, just to enjoy. And the first thing that people will assume is, well, when I'm out, they'll go, "Oh, you're speaking English to me. That's weird. You're not speaking Danish because I have blonde hair and I look like a Dane." And it's like, yeah, no, I'm not from here. Wait, so where are you from? And they're expecting me to say something like Philadelphia or California. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm from Canada. And they're like, what? That's crazy awesome. We have the same flag colors. So it gets into this like really fun, entertaining night, and it's been a really interesting experience. But from what I understand from other folks is that they don't maybe get the same experience that I do, because it's like, oh, okay, let's, you're from there and whatever, leave us to our thing. So I don't know, I've had a fantastic experience. I really love Copenhagen. It's a beautiful city. I live in this really cool place called the North, which is like a very culturally diverse area of Copenhagen. And I bike to work every day, and not any North American can say that. And I think it's been a fantastic experience. I've been to traveling around Europe is so cheap as well. And I've been really enjoying it.
How long are you over for? You're over for this project at I.O.?
At least, yeah. I mean, it's a full-time position. I'm not here on contract, and until either they kick me out, the country kicks me out, or Canada pulls me back.
This is a secret project that we can't talk about. Is that right?
No, I can't talk about it.
Right. Okay.
But it is big.
Wait.
It's big.
Can you?
It's big,
One of the things we like to do as a radio show is seek exclusives. Exclusives, and I understand you can't tell us anything about the project, but also, we're nice guys, so we hope you'll bend the rules for us. Could you tell us the dominant colour?
Periwinkle.
Exclusive.
Exclusive.
One life left exclusive.
There we go.
Periwinkle.
Excellent. Thank you. So Chris, have you had a chance to look at the indie games on show this evening?
It's actually been pretty full. I think since everyone's listening to the talks now, it's a lot less, so I'll be able to walk around and check them out.
Okay.
But I actually really enjoy playing a lot of indie games and giving feedback. When I was in Canada and the States, I'd always go to the student shows and play the games, and then the developers would be there, right? Because they want people to play their games, but I'd take them aside and be like, okay, well, these are my thoughts, and just, blurt out whatever it was on my mind. Whether how they were communicating with the player, with the mechanics which weren't or were working, or maybe it was an aesthetic or whatever it is. And I really like giving that feedback, not as an egotistical thing, but just to be like, hey, by the way, did you think of this? Because after you've trialed and failed so many times in larger games, and when you're like when you're doing a lot of like pre-production, those lessons learned, you bring that over to production, or you bring those over to the next game. And as your first time game as a student or as an indie developer, because it's usually your first game, you don't bring a lot of those lessons in. So I like to educate as well. I used to teach, and one thing I love about being a designer is that you are a teacher. So you're teaching about a mechanic, or you're teaching about maybe some philosophical environmental thing you want to talk about, or whatever it is. But you need to always you're consistently teaching the players something, and they're unlike being in a classroom and you've got like an open book and you're snoring, I get to be an entertainer as a teacher. So I think it's really interesting. So yeah.
Great. Well, thanks so much for spending some time with us. We were hoping to get some feedback on who's winning out there at the moment, because we're backing our firm favourites. The game over here to our left, Flowstorm. That's what we've got our money on this evening.
Flowstorm.
And not just because it's the closest one to us.
I think it is because it's the one you can read.
Well, yeah, that's our home team. Or
that's true. We were having trouble with that word over there. Can you see that?
Can you read that? You've been around
the
here
mission?
for a while.
No.
The
Next to that.
With all the letters.
The one with the letters and the lack of vowels. I mean, there are some vowels that just aren't enough.
And they don't look right.
Rymdkapsel.
That's pretty good.
Oh, great. Well,
That
we'll
sounded
take
plausible.
We'll take that.
Excellent. Well, enjoy the rest of the show. Thank you for spending some time with us, and we'll see you around.
Oh yeah, definitely. Cheers, guys.
You're listening to Resonance 104.4 FM, and we are One Life Left. We are at Nordic Game Conference 2013 in Malmo, Sweden, home of the Eurovision and home of Nordic Game for the last 10 years.
Has been, hasn't it?
It's been 10 years. And we're missing a Steve.
We are. He went AWOL. He's gone.
Steve's gone AWOL. And rather than wait for him, we thought that we'd crack on, given that we've just been joined by two returning guests. Hello, Petri and Martin. How are you doing?
I'm good. Hey.
Hello. Sorry, you are sharing a microphone, so this could be technically awkward. So if you could just lead. Martin, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well.
Great. So you were with us last year, weren't you?
I was.
Great.
Yes.
And last year we were talking about physics in...
No, last year was the use,
adding
like dressing up a boring game to make it look like it's fun, even though it's really not.
And so you did that talk last year and went very well.
Yes.
And you're back for more.
Yes.
So what were you talking about this year? Petri.
Well, this year we're talking about platformers and physics engines and the inherent problems that they have.
So could you explain what some of those inherent problems are?
Well, it basically boils down to that platformer games aren't very physically, they aren't very realistic. So you have to basically break your physics engine in order to make it work.
So this was a talk for people that use middleware with sort of pre-programmed physics, all of that sort of stuff, and how...
I guess it's a talk for people that are just starting out with game development, and to many people it seems like a good idea. It's like, oh, awesome, Unity has this physics engine.
Yeah.
I'm going to use that to make a platformer. But it's not really helping. It's rather making it harder, like you're changing one set of problems for another, and we try to comically illustrate what those problems are and maybe sort of kind of how to solve them.
So can you give us an example of some of those problems?
So one really common problem is that like if you create a box that weighs about the same that I do, and you have me jump with about the same force that I do, I'm going to jump like, I don't know, 2 feet in the air, like 50 centimeters. That's what I can do basically. Mario jumps like 4 or 5 times his own height.
Right.
So he jumps super powerfully up. And if I would do that, my legs would break. And of course, imagine being launched 4 meters up, 8 meters up in the air.
You'd be able to do one jump. It would be a good jump, but it'd be game over.
Jump. Yeah, and then you land, and then you're screwed.
Okay.
And the other trick is that Mario takes about 0.7 seconds from leaving the ground to being back on the ground. Like, if I could do this jump, it would take me something like 2.5 seconds, like boing, and then back down again. Mario does it like boink. So the gravity in Mario's world is really, really high, so it's just pressing him down like crazy. And all of this is just, it's not physics anymore, it's something else entirely.
Okay. I have often thought, back when I was a games journalist, that you could tell how good a game is going to be by how well the main character jumps. I genuinely think, and I actually do think that is a mark of its quality. There's that whistling man behind us again, and it seems like such an easy thing to do. But I guess the point of your talk was that it's actually borderline impossible.
Yes, and actually we talked 2 years ago. We talked about different jumping things in platforming games and how they've been implemented and how they've been done. And I totally agree with you. It's a certain magic that goes into making a good platformer game and making a good jump, and that is probably a good indication of the quality of the rest of the game.
And is that something that you tend to set manually? I mean, so if you're using Unity and its physics engine and it's making you jump as you would do in real life, which is boring and not practical for a game or whatever. So the theory, I guess, then is that you have to set those parameters manually. Is there a magic formula for that then?
No, it's just... Well, it is magic. You just tweak the knobs until it feels right.
Right.
But it's sort of like whack-a-mole. You fix one thing and something else is going to break. So like you increase the gravity a lot, but that's also going to make like the gravity's pushing you down into the ground, which is going to make your friction really high.
Right.
So you're going to stick to the ground a lot. So you're going to lower the friction on the ground to make you slide around easier. And that's going to break a bunch of stuff because that's not going you're not going to stop because you're just going to keep sliding and you just keep chasing the brokenness around and trying to fix it. And you can sort of patch it up, but it's never quite right.
So Mario does it well, even though it doesn't do it realistically. I mean, obviously. So have you got any examples of games that do it poorly?
Oh wow! I don't want to step on anyone's toes.
Well, sexy hiking is a good example of boring.
Sexy hiking.
Yeah, you should try that game.
Can you explain sexy hiking to us? Because
Sexy Hiking is a game by Chasso, and he's this guy who I don't think anyone's ever met, but he's made all these crazy games. And Sexy Hiking is this game where you have a title screen that's been done in an MS Paint with a paint spray tool, and it's got the music is the X-Files team played as a MIDI song in the background. And then he's got a character that's drawn in the MS Paint, but it's got 3D rendered shoes and a hammer. and he moves around, so by pointing his mouse cursor, he always moves his hand and hammer in that direction. And what you do is completely unrealistic, but you basically move by making the hammer touch the ground, and that moves the player forward.
Right.
So he's moving like this in a super unrealistic way. So you have to climb with the hammer by lifting yourself up with it, and it's a completely unrealistic but extremely fun game.
It sounds sexy.
Hello, look, it's Steve Curran's back. Hello,
Hi.
Steve. Where did you go to?
I went to see Rich Lamarchon and make sure he comes on the show, which he essentially didn't promise to do.
Right, excellent.
It was a partially successful.
I was
visit.
going to ask you guys. So, how would our readers find out how to play Sexy Hiking? But I wouldn't encourage anybody to Google that, particularly not at work.
I don't know. I think you'd be fine. The game's pretty popular, and I guess it's avant-garde or something.
Okay, so we can explain that to our...
You just tell your boss.
Yeah.
No,
It's avant-garde.
It's avant-garde. You're behind the times.
I'm going to write a game called Young Teen. Barely legal.
It's art.
So, you've done your talk now. It went well. We hear. So, what are your plans for the rest of the festival?
Well, we've spent like the past 3 days in sort of a programming preparedness fury trying to get this done, and we missed a couple of buses going here because we were rehearsing the talk, and then we came here and we rehearsed some more. But now we're done, so now we're probably going to do some recreational.
One of your games is showing.
Yes, my game is showing.
It's the impronounceable games that we have embarrassed ourselves over so much. How'd you say it?
Rymdkapsel.
Do it again.
Bless you.
Rymdkapsel. It's not that hard.
It looks difficult.
Had I known English speakers would have this much of a problem with it, that would not have been the name.
Sorry that we're stupid.
Well, that's it. I'm sorry.
So can you tell us a little bit more about it?
So I call it a meditative space strategy game, which explains nothing, basically. But
is it like Sexy Hiking?
It's quite unlike Sexy Hiking. So you're building a space station in space. It's like a real-time strategy game, but you're building a space station. You start out with this really tiny little thing, and it's two-dimensional, sort of. So you're placing rooms, and all the rooms happens to be Tetris blocks, the sort of the backbone of your station is the corridor. Like every good space station is all about corridors. If you've seen a sci-fi movie, you know it's the corridor. That's like the important stuff. So everything attaches to the corridor, and it's a very you're placing rooms, and you have these minions running around on your station, and it's quite like Settlers or Dungeon Keeper in that you can't control them directly. You say I would like you to build things, please, and if they feel like it, will walk over and start building the things. And then as you get weapons, you get a weapons service that you can put them on. And weapons means that someone's going to come and attack you. So you're in this balance between, do I want to build and expand my station to get better defenses, or do I want them to drop what they're doing, run to the weapons and defend, because they're completely defenseless without the weapons. And it's a really sort of slow and meditative game. I know people who are parents newly got kids recently, and they do it while they're sort of watching the kids because they can play it and watch the kids at the same time, which I think is adorable.
Sounds great. So, how would we find it on the internet then? Are you going to be able to spell it out for us, or?
Yes. So, oh God, I never thought of this in radio. Man, I'm fine in text.
It's all about the branding.
Rymdkapsel. Yeah, about that. No, I can't do it. I'm sorry.
Right. Well, we should.
It does sound like the sort of game that we were talking about earlier, where the designer provides a environment for the player to have a unique experience within it and be able to tell stories about the things that they have created.
It's a little bit like that. I've heard people compare it to Minecraft for some reason. it has blocks and you're building with them.
Sure.
And that's
The thing it reminded me of when you were talking about it just then is Dwarf Fortress. You slowly build this castle and it disintegrates in front of your eyes despite what you want to do.
Actually, that's a really good comparison. I should steal that. It's like Dwarf Fortress for idiots.
We're idiots. We're idiots.
In Dwarf Fortress, everyone's an idiot.
Very true.
That's great. Well, guys, thank you ever so much for coming back. Hopefully we'll be back here next year. Can we see you next year, do you think?
I'll be here. I live here.
Let's make it a date.
The conference.
Cool. Thanks very much.
Thanks so much.
Good luck in the competition, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys. Are still at the Nordic Game. Can you believe it? We're still here after 45 minutes.
Still not moving.
That's how long it's been, is it?
Still not.
It feels a lot longer, doesn't it? Does time?
You've not been having a lovely time.
Well,
we've actually been chatting to some very, very nice people.
We have. I just disappeared for a while. Talked to Richard Marchand. He's very excited. The indie game talks are going brilliantly. Super, super, super popular.
Right.
Ram-packed.
He said he might pop along later. We'll see, won't we?
How kind of him.
He doesn't want to make an enemy of us because we have a list.
All of the list.
Who's on the list at the moment, Steve?
Everyone except for us.
Okay. Yeah, so that's been going well, and we're now joined by someone who appears to be an expert on cheese doodles from what we've been talking about. And how many to shove in your face?
Just leave them in your mouth and they'll
It's
melt.
Tom. Hello, Tom.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm fine. I like the way that Steve's got kind of a Nordic hat on.
Thanks.
Does he? He likes to dress
Keeping
for
the
the
theme.
I
occasion.
am desperately trying to fit in.
Yeah, it's good. It's a bit rainy outside as well, isn't it?
It's so rainy. And
Yeah.
it's the worst kind of rain.
And everyone, you've been here before, haven't you?
We've been here several times.
And everyone's told me that.
Who's interviewing who here?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, no, so carry on.
Terrible. Right.
Sorry, I'm Simon. Yeah, hello.
Hello. No, everyone's told me that it's been really sunny the last few times. It's been really nice summery.
It has been
Is that
sunny,
true?
but today it's that kind of fine rain, isn't it? The one that really soaks you to
It's
the
that
bone.
wet rain, isn't it?
Yeah,
I hate that wet rain. Yeah, it's spitting, as they used to say in my playground.
Tom, why have you never been here before?
I've never been invited.
Oh, that's a shame.
That's awful.
But you've been invited this year. Why?
This year I came to talk at Unite, which has been the last couple of days, about the game that we're making in Unity. There's the link.
So Unite is the Unity conference.
That's right.
And what specifically have you been talking about?
We've been talking about a game we're making called Sir, You Are Being Hunted.
Interesting title, Tom.
Yeah. And it's a kind of tweed punk. Is how we
that a
described
thing?
it. Yeah, it's a thing now.
You're just taking advantage of the Scandinavians and saying, yeah,
That's right.
in England, tweed punk's all the rage.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's a thing now because we've made it so.
So what's tweed punk?
Well, it's kind of it's not steampunk, but it kind of is associated. But it involves it was a good excuse to dress up in top hats and the nice tweed suits yesterday for the talk.
And was it a nice excuse to hunt people as well?
That's right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
How did you get on?
Fine, actually. Yeah. I mean, I've not done that much research like in the real world because it probably wouldn't go down too well. But yeah, the game features kind of smartly dressed robotic gentlemen drinking tea, wearing tweed, and hunting you down over a British landscape.
I appreciate it's probably not the done thing to offer an opinion on this, but I'm very excited about it. But I think it sort of boils down to the idea that people love to be chased, don't they? Like actually, you mentioned spitting in the playground earlier. We obviously went to different schools, but so when you lot were spitting at each other, that's when you just run around, or you were chasing to be spat at.
No, it's spitting as in raining.
I was joking.
I thought for a minute I was like, I'm going to have to get my Yorkshire dictionary out for a second.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, people do like. Well, in a lot of games, you just gung ho in there, don't you, with your chain gun or whatever, and you just get everybody, gun them all down. Whereas in this, it's more like you've got to be a little bit more wary because they're quite likely to do that to you. So you can end up running away quite a lot. But I think that's quite a good feeling sometimes.
Yeah.
Sir, You Are Being Hunted is quite a long title. How should we abbreviate it in the future?
Well, it's even more complicated because it can be Madam You're Being Hunted as well.
Good.
There's a whole dual kind of title going on
I
there.
want to be hunted.
Yeah.
So should we call it Sir or Madam?
Yeah, but that doesn't really make it any shorter, does it?
Doesn't it?
Let's register sirormadam.com.
You can have it. You can have it at very reasonable.
Exactly,
We're not really doing anything with it, but we still want to retain it for commercial value.
Exactly. You never know.
Yeah, it sounds good. Or Madam
.org.
.biz. Always .biz.
We can only get .tv.
Yeah. So, how long's it been in? How long have you been working on it for?
Well, we put a Kickstarter together at the end of last year, which we managed to get the goal on. Well, we got more than the goal, so we were really happy about that.
Weren't
yeah, there
well?
were some stretches. Yeah,
Lunges.
Yeah, the stretches are the worrying things because you can kind of strain yourself when you go for them. So it's been in production for a while, and we're going to hopefully get it on the stands at Resd.
Are you?
Yeah,
okay.
in Birmingham next month, I think.
So that'd be the first time you're showing it off, but when are people like me going to be able to buy it?
You'll never be able to. No,
be able to afford it. Exactly.
Yeah, we've got a list.
Right,
you've got a list.
You've been banned.
We've got a list.
Madam.
Well, I guess the Kickstarter backers are going to get early access probably in July, we hope, and then we're just going to kind of get the feedback from there, see how it goes, and we hope to get it done. When it's done.
Right.
Yeah, that's the good answer, isn't it?
So having successfully kickstarted, then you sort of you mentioned that it's. Sorry, you didn't mention it specifically, but you alluded to it being a bit of a hassle being kickstarted because you've got stretch goals and stuff like that. Like, is it a people aspire to be Kickstarter funded, but is it all of that? I mean, obviously it's a useful way of generating income and interest and stuff like that. But have you found it difficult or not?
I think we'll be fine.
Okay.
It's interesting. I was talking at a conference in Amsterdam a couple of weeks ago, and there was. Is it Chris Avalone? Do you know him? He's like the guy who did Torment Planescape,
right? Yeah.
And he was doing a talk specifically about Kickstarter and like how much money what his various projects have made. And he'd done incredibly well,
Yeah.
But it was quite confusing sometimes because he'd be sort of telling people. That how to organise their PR and so on. And there's such a different range of small indies who they don't have a PR all the way up to this enormous scale. So I think it's kind of still on a case by case basis. I think one thing that I found that people have to be careful of is stuff like the sort of material rewards and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I was talking to him and he was like, he knows a number of companies that have just bankrupted themselves on having to send
out
t-shirts to Australia and stuff like that. So, but I think we're okay because I think we've kind of been reasonably sensible about the kind of
When we
goals
do a Kickstarter, we're only going for immaterial rewards.
That's right.
That's good.
Things
I
that
like it.
offer no value at all to anyone.
Yeah, I think that's good.
So you're sticking around for the rest of the festival? What are you going to be up to?
I'm going to try and check out a few things tomorrow, but unfortunately you've got to fly back sort of late tomorrow, so just have to see what's around in the next day or so, really.
We'll be around in the next day or so. Don't know what anyone else needs, frankly.
Yeah, you're doing things. So yeah, are you going to be staying around and putting
We certainly-
Weetos or
yes.
whatever it was in your mouth. I can't remember what it was. What's it?
Cheese Doodles.
Cheese Doodles. Is
And
a
we'll be
Cheese
turning-
Doodle an American what's it? Or is it just like...
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I mean, something like that.
Right.
But yeah, we're hoping to kickstart that into a game of its own.
Okay, sounds good.
Welcome back to Nordic Game 2013. We are one life left, and we're still broadcasting from a corner of the Indie Games Night.
It's bustling, isn't it?
Still,
really
I
is.
said that earlier, Simon.
They've
I said
just-
bustling. I
Bustling
remember
more.
saying bustling.
Okay.
Bustling isn't a word you get to use a lot. When you say it, you remember.
It's more bustling.
Bustly.
It's bustling year.
I'm bustly.
You are, certainly
It's,
that.
it's just the way I'm sitting.
Yes, you're pleased to see me, etc. We're having a nice time, aren't we? And we're delighted to be joined by Lau. Lau, hello.
Hi.
We've been trying to attract your attention all evening. What the
Yeah.
hell have you been doing?
I have been like running around like a madman.
Right, is that your job?
No, I'm not even getting paid for it. That's the thing. No, so yeah, I'm from Copenhagen Games Collective, and we're organizing this thing. So I've been up on stage and like getting people to do crazy talks and setting up games and do stuff all night.
How
but
did you get involved in that?
I think we from Copenhagen Games Collective, we've been at this Nordic Game Conference for many years, and it has always been pretty dull, I would say.
Oh, thanks.
And,
Thanks very much.
Oh, yeah.
I've talked 3 times
Three
before.
times, yeah.
Did my best.
We've been here
Pretty
5
dull.
times.
I was trying. Yeah, we've been here 5 times.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
always been
yeah.
dull. I see
No,
what
it
you're
has
saying,
been a
Mike.
bit. It has appealed to a certain type of persons. I don't know.
Us.
I'm rambling here. No, the thing is, I feel we and Nordic Game actually felt that they needed to do another event that reached out to students, indie developers, people who couldn't afford like expensive tickets. So like we're doing this event the day before, and it's free, and people can just show up, and there'll be some kind of talks, but we can't promise the quality of them. And there'll be like cool games and showcase and free beers.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
We're in. We literally are in.
right.
We're here. So how have the talks been?
It has been super cool. I don't know what the audience felt. I tried this really crazy panel where each of them should just put on a piece of music and like not really talk. So it was like 5, just like your favorite piece of music. And we kind of ended it with that. So it was like a try to, instead of listen to games all night, because like we're all doing games, we're working with games, try to get some other inspiration from other sources. And I felt that was kind of interesting. Mm-hmm. And it was cool. There was a lot of hip hop actually.
Really? Okay. You're sticking around for the rest of the conference, are you?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Okay. What are you looking forward to?
I'm looking for... should I just say the party? Yeah, I'm looking forward to the party, especially because we're demoing our game, a Wii U game coming up.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
Spin the Bottle. Yeah.
Oh!
Now you've got Anne's attention.
Yeah. Now I'm interested.
Cool. Yeah. So we're demoing that tomorrow night. It's like a crazy Wii U game where you do like physical dares with each other and touch each other and look at each other and do silly stuff.
Sounds like my kind of thing.
Will there be karaoke at the party?
Well, I guess improv karaoke. If you want to sing along, you can do it. But-
Interesting.
Sure.
That's one way of putting it.
We do. All the time. We're looking forward to that a lot. Is there any sort of things... I mean, we've been trying to capture a little of the atmosphere of Nordic Game tonight. This is our first show. Is there anything you think that makes Nordic Games stand out against other video game conferences?
It is This event, the Indie Night. So to me, I think it's really cool compared to stuff like a GDC, for instance. Like here, there's like everybody is like eating in a big room together, and like the party is together. So it's like much more like a kind of like a community experience where everybody is doing stuff together, eating and partying and so on. It's not so scattered all around. I really like that experience of just like really meeting a lot of people and having fun with them.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. I think when we tell people what a good time we have here, it's exactly that. It's unusual for everybody to be sat down together and here's to another 10 years, eh?
Yeah.
I think quite good. Well, we'll see you here in 2023. And hopefully it'll be less dull. And Steve will only have talked another 5 times. Good. Right, we're going to try and grab Emma next, aren't we?
Thanks so much, Laos.
Thank you. See you next year.
We're still here on the show floor at Nordic Game, and we are very, very, very excited to be joined by Emma, who is... What's your job title?
What's your job title?
COO? COO.
Oh.
Essentially.
Or producer.
Super important person who runs Nordic Game.
Emma, how's it been going?
Oh, it's been crazy this year.
It hasn't kicked off properly yet, has it?
No, but we already started with the Unite Nordic that we've just finished, and it's been running for 2 days. So tomorrow feels like, just another day.
Yeah.
But it really starts tomorrow, yeah.
So you make the magic happen.
Oh, yes.
This is all down to you.
Yeah.
What does it feel like as this sort of stuff unfolds in front of you? Is it scary or is it exciting?
It's exciting. As you can hear.
Yeah, there's so much stuff still going on.
Right, if you're in charge, so can you stop that man coming out and shouting when we're trying to do a radio show?
Every time we do a link.
Exactly.
Yelling.
We just let people be who they are.
Good.
That's why our show is so great.
But it does seem like that is the way here. You kind of embrace everybody and everything.
We try. We do our best.
Tell us what we should be excited about at Nordic Game
Tim
this year.
Schafer.
Tim
Yeah,
Schafer.
Tom Schiffer's
I worked for 5 years to get Tim Schafer, so please be excited.
And
We're
he's
going to be
here
there.
now.
We're going to be there 10 o'clock tomorrow morning.
10 o'clock tomorrow
And he's getting a hell of an introduction, isn't he?
I'm sure he will get a
Simon Parkin, who was our first guest on today, was telling us all about how he's introducing Tim Schafer.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I have no
So
idea.
it's all coming together.
Honestly, we don't either.
Okay,
We
so
were
that's what
humouring
I
him.
am excited about. I'm
Yeah.
also excited about or scared of having more people than we ever had.
Really?
Really?
It's a record-breaking year, is it?
Yes.
Great.
In all ways, it is. And I do find that really exciting and quite scary.
Emma, thank you so much for coming on One Life Left.
And this is the first of our shows that will be going out on Resonance 104.4 FM, which is what you're listening to now, or potentially we're being podcast. But however, we are coming to you through your ears. Thank you very much for listening.
Yeah, thank you.
We will see you very, very soon. But until then, we've been One Life Left.
Goodbye.
Bye.